Okay, forgiveness.
Oh yeah, forgiveness.
Let's talk about it. I got a couple verses here I want to share,
I don't want to talk about it.
but unfortunately, there's a lot of people that need to hear it, so we're
Well,
gonna have to.
I do want to talk about it.
This is
It's
gonna be a fun one. Ephesians 4:31. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and slander be put away from you, along with all malice. Hebrews 12:15. See to it that no one fails to obtain the grace of God. You can fail to obtain the grace of God. That no root of bitterness springs up and causes trouble, and by it many become defiled. Ephesians 4:31 through verse 32. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and slander be put away from you, along with all malice. Be kind to one another, tenderhearted, forgiving one another, as God in Christ forgave you. Interesting. So first thing,
go to 1 Corinthians 13.
1 Corinthians 13. Okay, hold on. 1 Corinthians 13. I know the verse. I just can't quote it. Okay. You want me to read the whole thing?
Um, I want you to start with. I want you to read what love is.
So the first part is in number 3. It talks about what it's not. It means if you have all these things but you don't have love, you have nothing. And then it goes into what it doesn't do, right?
Right.
And then here's what love does do. Love always protects. It always trusts. It always hopes. It always perseveres. Love never fails, but where there are prophecies, they will cease. Where there's tongues, they will be stilled. Where there is knowledge, it will pass away. For we know in part and we prophesy in part. But when completeness comes, what is in part disappears. When I was a child, I talked like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I put the ways of childhood behind me. For now we see only reflection as in a mirror, then we shall see face to face. Now I know in part, then I shall know fully, even as I am fully known. And now these 3 things remain: faith, hope, and love, but the greatest of these is love.
Where's the love is patient?
Love is patient, love is kind,
You read that.
it does not boast. Um, right here, love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is
It's
not
not
proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices in truth.
right. I think in the forgiveness conversation, I think that often gets left out is the love keeps no record of wrongs. And that doesn't say anything about love not setting up boundaries. It doesn't say anything about love like it doesn't say it just says keep no record of wrongs, which you can use to abuse, right? Well, you're keeping that record against me. I can, but I don't actually think it means that. I mean, it's in here. How much bitterness, how much anger, how much record am I storing in me about all the ways you've wronged me over the years? Right? But it says don't do it. Well, no, it doesn't say don't do it actually. It says I'm going to know that you are filled with love if you fit in here.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't dishonor others, if you're not rude, if you're not self-seeking, if you keep no record of wrongs, I will know you love.
Right.
It's so fascinating you want to talk about this today because this morning I was thinking through. Um, I lost it. I lost it.
Well, it'll come back to you. Let's back up for a second and let's discuss, because we're now on technically episode 2
Right.
of Hold the Bridge podcast. And for everybody watching, in sales, we identify a problem that needs solving first.
Right.
So if we're talking about forgiveness today, which for whatever reason, this is what kind of Father brought to us, when we got to talking about what do we want to discuss today. So this was not planned, but we're gonna go somewhere with this. Why is unforgiveness a problem? Why is it a significant problem? And in your lifetime, how have you seen forgiveness destroy kingdoms? Because we're talking about kingdoms, we're
Yeah.
talking about legacy, we're talking about building something, and clearly if it's built on the wrong thing or it's not founded and maintained in a place of love, it crumbles. So let's first discuss the problem, why this is worth addressing. Why is this worth talking about for the people out there that are dealing with unforgiveness or bitterness towards people? What will unforgiveness do, and what have you seen it do in your life?
Unforgiveness, my opinion, both from psychology and experience, is it prevents you from moving forward. So it's not saying you can't build a giant business while being while being a person who doesn't forgive, but you can't build a giant business if the places you can't forgive are in there, right? So it doesn't stop you from moving forward in every place in your life, but the places where you don't have, for example, I would say because the reason we start talking about this, we're talking about father wounds, and I think the we learn unforgiveness. Most of us learn unforgiveness from that, from a parental wounding that we don't know how to work through. That is our first, and most of those wounds are because of repetition.
Right.
Right, I saw this happen in my home over and over and over again, or I wasn't protected here, or this was done to me, and it didn't happen once, it happened over and over again.
Multiple
So we
times.
learn that, well, that's on them, we don't, that's about them, and we don't need to forgiveness is not a thing we even consider. And so we learn unforgiveness in our fatherhood or motherhood woundings, which we then take that pattern and we stick it somewhere else. And so, I mean, the biggest one you and I get to look at right now is intimate relationships, dating relationships or marriages. Is a lot of the unforgiveness that we learned from our childhood with one or both of our parents will not let a person move forward into an intimate relationship of their own later. You asked the question about destroying a kingdom, or fracturing it anyway.
How much of a threat is unforgiveness to a kingdom?
I won't say it's the greatest threat, but it's up there, because the kingdom cannot thrive in this generation or the next if the king and queen aren't united. And again, most unforgiveness stuff stems from a fatherhood or motherhood wound, which directly gets put onto a spouse. Very, very few times have I ever witnessed, not that I've been deeply searching for it, but very few times have I witnessed a person who has a fatherhood wound, I say a woman who has a fatherhood wound, not bring that wound directly into the marriage.
Right.
And apply it to their husband.
Yeah, to the person you're intimate with.
To the person you're intimate with.
On the outside, everything can seem great.
Right.
They've got good friend relationships, all sorts of things happening, and the only place where it really comes to a head is in the relationship. Yep. And that goes both ways. It's not just a girl towards a guy. No, it's a guy towards a girl as well. It's when you get tied in together physically, intimately, emotionally, now there's these expectations there and all these emotions and chemicals. That is the place where those wounds can come out as a method of self-preservation.
Yes.
But we agree the problem is that in trying to preserve yourself, you're actually acting out of fear, and fear cannot produce life. It can't. And if it does, it's not life that can last.
Correct. So both, it doesn't matter where it comes from, whether it comes from him or her. what happens to a man is a man ends up retreating into self-protection mode.
Mm-hmm.
So if the easy ones to talk about, because we see them everywhere, are nothing he ever does is enough for her, or there is massive criticism with very little approval for things he does right, these types of things, or he's already wounded and believes that nothing he does is enough. He sees criticism where there's not. This is not me laying anything on the women, but the result of fatherhood and motherhood wounds are that a man, he gets to situations where he retreats because the only thing he can do is protect himself. That is the smallest a man can be,
Mm-hmm.
which creates a problem.
This is where a man starts to retreat.
Yeah, but a
And
man,
then the woman has to step up to
Yeah.
step into place
right?
to do what the man is not doing because
Mhm.
he's retreating, and
Yeah.
it just creates a terrible compound
It
effect in a
does.
relationship.
It does, because a man. That statement I want to say it again, is a man who has retreated to a place of only protecting himself. That is the smallest he can be. That is out of design.
Mm-hmm.
A man is fulfilled by having someone or something bigger than him to protect, someone or something bigger than him to provide for, to build, to grow, to create something that lasts. That's his design.
Right.
As soon as he steps out of it because I'm under attack, so I must protect myself, which is an instinct, he is the smallest he can ever be, which means he instantly loses respect of people around him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, especially a man in self-protection mode loses respect of women very, very easily.
Right.
Right. If he stays in it for too long, for very long at all, he loses the respect of the men around him as well.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like, well, just pick yourself up and move forward is a very, very instinctive man's way of
Right.
being.
Suck it up, move on. Yep.
Don't stop doing what's right because you're hurting,
Right.
But that unforgiveness destroys kingdoms, in that the relationship cannot grow and merge together. It cannot move together. It cannot grow stronger, which means you cannot build together. Right. I have this example I've given in the past of, a king and a queen live in a castle, but a lot of castles I see these days, she has her own wing.
Mm-hmm.
She lives off there by herself. She's building her own stuff, doing it. He's here on his side doing what he can. I'm not saying he's the guy in the right at all, but we have two separate entities building inside the same kingdom, which is fine. That generation's kingdom can grow, but the children watch this happen,
Mm-hmm.
which means the next generation cannot grow,
Mm-hmm.
because this is now normal.
Right.
I'm not looking for someone to bond with, someone to be merged with, someone to be united with, because I've never seen it.
They're not getting a healthy picture.
Or I saw it in the beginning and I saw it go horrifically wrong, And so, in my opinion, unforgiveness is one of the biggest things that destroys a kingdom. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, that's interesting. There's another thing that I think of that happens in this, that there's a verse that comes to mind that says, hope deferred makes the heart sick.
Mm.
When someone is in a situation that becomes toxic and bad for an extended period of time, that they begin to lose hope. And when they lose hope, it shows up in every area. I think this
Right.
is where people, you can see it physically. They're not taking care of themselves the same way. They might not, it can show up in a bunch of different ways in that, but you can usually see the outward presence of the inward lack of hope
Right.
in a relationship once it gets to that point.
Mm-hmm.
So you really have to protect it. I think one of the important things is you have to foresee a problem before it really becomes a problem, and do your best to deal with it before it becomes a problem. Like having a pre-flight checklist, like before you're in a relationship.
Right.
Assess within yourself, like, do I have any unhealed wounds is there any area of unforgiveness that I'm holding?
Right.
Before I enter a relationship, because if you don't deal with those things before you get to the relationship, or you're not self-aware, they're going to come out in the relationship. And like, I think I truly believe in my heart of hearts that a couple that has lost respect for each other, I truly believe they can gain it back again.
Yes.
It will take time, but I believe you can get there. But it seems to be a hard truth in relationships that once certain damage is done, you start going farther and farther away from wholeness and love and grace and all these good things in a relationship, and you start to travel into a place of I no longer respect this person, you're no longer respecting yourself, and these things become an issue, and it becomes harder and harder and harder to mend, and it's like a slow death. And
Right.
there's two types of couples. There's couples that just get divorced eventually, or there's couples that stay married and live separate in their own castle, like you're
Right.
saying, where they're together for the children or something, like, for some common goal or
Right.
some kind of preservation, which may not even be the best thing for the kids. You guys stuck it out until the kids were out of the house, and then you divorced anyways. And you got some challenges there. So I kind of see that going two ways, but I know in my life I have seen unforgiveness just annihilate families.
Right.
I mean, horrendously. I've been in court situations that, like, I've seen on the outside families in court, and they're just ripped apart
Right.
by unforgiveness. And now you have there was one family in particular, they had 7 or 8 children, and it was like one of the worst divorces that state had ever seen. And the problem is that those children are now taking all of that trauma,
Right.
and they now have to deal and handle all of that trauma, all because one person wouldn't forgive, or they wouldn't release control, or they wouldn't deal with their own
Right.
daddy issues. In this whether it was the guy and the woman, they both had trauma, both had issues.
Right.
Neither of them dealt with it, and it ripped the family apart. And when you think about that, like, think of the 7, 8 children, if they all go on to have children, which I think only only 3 of the 8 children have had children.
Right.
The rest are like, I don't want anything to do with
Yeah.
family in this because of what they experienced. Imagine the ripple effect of what carries down generations, where now these children have to overcome a curse versus a blessing because the unforgiveness wasn't dealt with. So I think the first piece of advice is assess within yourself, do I have any unforgiveness towards my parents? Is there anything that I'm holding against them? That I'm holding them to, that I don't forgive them for.
Right.
Before you get into a relationship,
Do
do the
you-
work. Don't just go from relationship to relationship like people do. Like, I see people get out of one relationship and they're in another relationship a week later.
Right.
What the hell are you doing? Like, seriously, like, it's ridiculous. And then they'll break and they'll be in another relationship a week later. And then now you're cheating on people because you're not even giving a break. You're just going
Right.
from in a relationship to cheating, being in another relationship, and you never took time to deal with your trauma
Right.
at all. You're setting yourself up for a really bad roll.
So do you have a way you think is good to, like, self-assess? Where do I have unforgiveness? How do you tell?
How can you tell if you have unforgiveness? I would compare that. So, like, obviously we trade, right? Like, we're invested in trading the markets. The markets expose you like nothing else. In the markets, when you start getting frustrated, antsy, you feel the need to do something, you feel the need to act or take control or make things happen. That right there should be an indicator that something is off inside of you.
Right.
I think it works the same way in relationships. If you feel the need at all to control the person, or you're insecure about their decisions, or you're like it's rising up in you, that is a signal that something underneath is trying to creep up and change a potential outcome because of fear. Like, anytime fear starts to creep up, I look at that like there's something deeply rooted there that you need to step back for a second, stop talking, because if this is happening in the process of you trying to talk to another human being and you're projecting your trauma onto them, like, just take a step back and be self-aware of, like, oh, like, I'm getting, the word is triggered. I'm getting triggered by something right now. If you're getting triggered, you need to fully explore, stop and fully explore, all right, where's this trigger coming from? Like,
Right.
I'm on edge. My face is getting flushed. I can feel my blood pressure going up. This really bothered me. Well, there's a reason for that, and you need to lean into that. So, like, first thing, shut your mouth, stop causing further damage, and then just sit and just be like, you know what? This is affecting me for some reason. I don't know what it is. Like, if you want to earn your spouse's respect, holy smokes. Can you imagine being in the middle of a conversation and be like, you know what? I can just tell like something's not right in me right now.
Right.
And I want to just go and I love you, but I just need space to go and just like, why am I feeling the way I'm feeling right now? I really want to dive into that. Can you imagine how healing that would be
Right.
versus something that could go really like this could go bad and we can argue and fight and or this could turn into a healing moment that brings us closer
Right.
together. So I would say if there's unforgiveness there, it's going to come up in triggers. You're going to get triggered in a relationship, and that when that trigger happens, you need to understand that's the signal that something is off
Right.
inside of there, that it's an opportunity to grow versus, blow the account.
Right. Blow the account. I really, this morning was really thinking about basically they'll know whom you serve by how you love,
Mhm.
right? I mean, the wording in the Bible is they'll know you are Christians by your love one for another, but if I simplify that, it's I'll know whom you serve by how you love the people around you. And, but the thing that people get really antsy about talking about is, well, what is love? So the big reason I asked you to read that one this morning is, well, it's patient, it's kind, it's good, it's not self-serving. It's like, I know whom you serve by how you love. Well, I know whom you serve by how willing you are to forgive. Because if I am an unforgiving person, I serve me.
Mhm.
That is my priority, is me.
Yeah, which stems from self-preservation, right?
Yeah.
I got to I got to control my space and preserve
Mm-hmm.
I got to hold my peace and preserve my space and my peace here, and you're a threat to it.
Yeah. Or I need to hold on to what's normal because I am afraid of something new.
Afraid of change.
Yeah. Right. Because all I know is the anger. All I know is that I have something over on somebody else and I might need it. I might need it. They might try to hurt me. Or, and so I hang on to it so that I don't have to change,
Mm.
which is selfish.
Right.
Right. It might be self-preservation. Self-preservation is selfish.
Yeah.
I care about me first. Um, and yeah, I just really pouring through that this morning. Well, when people look at me in my life, whom would they say I serve? Would they say I serve myself? Would they say I serve? I mean, you can really dig into it. Like, I know people. There's people in my life who clearly their first love is social media. There's people in my life who
Oh dang.
clearly their first love is money.
Oh dang.
Clearly, their first love is work.
Mm.
Clearly, their first love is themselves.
Mm.
Clearly, their first love is food. Like, you can tell by who and what they love and how they love everybody around him. But the Bible's pretty specific. They'll know you love me. They'll know you're mine by how you love other people.
Right.
Nothing else. Nothing else. The big reason I love the church we go to. They talk a lot of Jesus. They talk a lot of Paul. They talk a lot going to church. They're not going to know we love the creator that we love. They're not going to know we belong to him by how much I use the name of Jesus or how many souls I bring to the kingdom or what all this language that they use. That is not how people will know about the creator of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
They will know about the creator of the universe by how I love you, by how I love my enemies, by how I love the people who've abused me or treated me terribly. They will know by how I love. And love is really clearly laid out in there as to what love is.
That's like crystal clear.
It's you can't get any clearer. It's two places, right?
So
They
this
will
is
know greater love has no man than this, that he put others first.
yeah, you lay down your life.
That you lay down your life
Yep.
for your friends, that you put others first. There is no greater love than that.
Right.
And if anyone wants to argue me on that one, I can tell you, you don't believe Jesus loved you.
Right.
Because
Oh,
that's how
man.
he showed us he loved us.
You know what's sad to me is when I see people who 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 don't know God at all.
Right.
Okay? They don't study God. They're not into it for whatever reason. They're let's just say they're not Christian, okay? But they know how to love better than someone who claims to be Christian.
Right.
That rubs me the wrong way. Like, it's good. Like, you love to see it when someone is like they've learned how to love themselves well and love others well. But man, that sucks. It sucks when people who claim something don't actually live it out and walk it out. And I want to go somewhere with this because this is powerful. 2026 is a kingmaker year.
Yes.
Okay. So you've got this event going on this year, and in essence, you are creating long-term legacies, but it ties right into what I'm going through this year as well. And part of my family legacy is the mastery of self, right?
Right.
Master yourself and live free, and you can succeed at anything in life. And when we talk about love and perfect love, it's not just loving others, it's loving yourself. Okay? Now I'm going to say something here that's going to piss somebody off. And that's okay, because we need to be okay with being uncomfortable. Okay? But like, loving yourself doesn't mean you're excited because you went in the gym for 15 minutes and then you went and ate a bunch of crap afterwards. And like the like, loving yourself is not okay with saying like, well, I love my body the way it is, but you're grossly overweight, but you love yourself. Like, loving yourself is disciplining yourself in every area to grow. Now, and I would argue that loving yourself and this whole thing about like you will know people will know you by the way you love, that only comes through self-mastery. But self-mastery in the light of love. Loving yourself is disciplining yourself. It's being able to, as Hans says, FOS yourself.
Right.
Look at yourself and be like, am I full of crap in this area? Like, I think I'm right, but am I really right? Or are there areas in me that need to grow? And so I think of like loving others really only happens well when you learn to master yourself, your own mind, will, emotions, being able to check yourself, and then be willing to renew your mind and grow so that way you can treat others well. Because if you don't love yourself, you can't love other people well. So I personally believe loving yourself means disciplining yourself, like in a healthy way, not an unhealthy way, but a healthy way.
Right.
Disciplining yourself. Don't think that like loving yourself is just accepting you for who you are.
Right.
I have never accepted myself for who I am.
Right.
And that's not a bad thing.
No.
It's a healthy thing. Like, as humans, we're made to grow and expand. Like, literally, it's what we're made to do. It actually, if we really got down to it, like, we're made to love. Like,
Right.
we're literally designed to love. That's what we're designed to do. Like, give love and receive love. That is like the core essence of who we are, and that goes
Right.
into life. But we're made to grow, not stay stagnant, not be one of the people that dies and then is buried 30 years later with unforgiveness and unresolved. Like, you have to continuously forgive.
Right.
You have to continuously work on yourself. And anytime these triggers come up in life, you got to be willing to pause, step back, and examine, where is this coming from?
Right.
And write it. Because when you do that, you're going to be able to take that onto the next generation, and they're going to be able to do better because of the work you did. They're going to be
Right.
able to build off of what you started and what you built off. So that's the way that I see self-love. It's discipline. Discipline is self-love.
Right.
Self-discipline.
Discipline and self-discipline be the action of self-love.
Yes, it's the action of self-love. Disciplining your mind, your spirit, your body in a healthy way. Not a militant kind of way, but a healthy kind of way.
Right.
In your thought patterns. That's like Romans 12:2 we talk about all the time. Like, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. If you're a person that doesn't think you need to be transformed, you've already lost.
Right.
You might as well quit. If you think you've reached it, we've never reached it. It's for whatever reason, God put us in this incredible sandbox, fishbowl playground where we get a lifetime of growth opportunity.
Right.
You never arrive, but you can walk in love.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if love is the arrival, I just want to, like, when people talk about being more like Jesus, that's what I think of is when you begin to walk your life in a way of love. That's what I think. Self-love and love of others.
So I find one of the reasons we're going to do some of the work we do at Kingmaker is because self-love of what? Most people have no idea who they actually are,
right,
or who they want to be, right? And so that, in my opinion, is where the work starts. Well, who am I?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we have so little self-awareness in that area, we have to go with, well, okay, well, who does someone I trust say I am? Which is fine. It's perfect. But if I don't know who to love, then it's all for naught. The only option I have if I don't know who I am and who I want to be is to just accept myself for who I am right now and everything. I love me. I'm overweight. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, no, I don't have any discipline in my life. I'm okay. I love me.
Yeah, that's just who I am.
Right. But that's the only option if you don't know who you are and who you want to be.
Right.
Not a like, well, I'd like to not be. Like, I would like to not have this problem in my life. But that's not knowing where I want to go. That's not choosing where I want to go. And that's not accepting who I am. That's not saying, no, I am a fit human being.
Hmm. You know what I went as far to do?
What?
I don't know if you like to do this too, but you know how people do vision boards?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think one of the greatest tools of AI is that, like, you can actually use it to create a picture of who you want to be in life,
right,
and who you are. So I actually created a visual of, this is what Graham looks like, the version that I'm becoming, who I want to be, like what the multi-millionaire version of me looks like, and who I am and my purpose and what I do. Like, I created a visual of that.
Right.
And I set that before me, and that is what I focus on. I don't focus on the fear of becoming broke, the fear of becoming fat, the fear of having a dad bod, or like the fear of things that seem undesirable to me.
Right.
I focus instead, and I have a clear vision of who I am and where I'm headed, both according to the word and also like the revelation of conversations I've had of God of, who am I?
Right.
Show me who I am, Father.
Mm-hmm.
And every single time I get a glimpse of that, I'm creating that visual, and now I'm headed towards that visual. I can see it. And when you can see it, you can achieve it.
Right.
Right? If you can't see it, that's where, like, when the pastor was telling the story about the woman who swam the channel and it got foggy and she gave up like a mile from shore because she didn't know. She's like, if I could have just seen it, I could have
Right.
made it. Right? So you have to have a vision. In fact, there's a verse that says it's for lack of vision and lack of knowledge that my people fail.
Right.
Right? So you have to have a vision in mind. Otherwise, you're just accepting like what's given to you by default. You're living on default, right, versus living with intention. And I think we're made to live not by default, but we're supposed to live like, your most beautiful life is going to come when you are intentional about pursuing the dreams, the visions, the view that God has given you to run after.
Right.
And I find that he really is good to show you. Like, if you really actually take the time to sit down and ask him, he'll show you. He doesn't leave his kids in the dark on everything all the time. Like, he's a good father. He really is.
So when you do a Kingmaker, you're going to get to do what I call an identity map. Mm-hmm. You're going to put out, you're going to listen and create basically a picture of who you are and who you want to be, and it's all going to go into one beautiful document. And so one of the things I encourage people to do in that exercise is take the things that you're not yet but are achievable, and you make them for now. So today, while we're talking about forgiveness, if you are an unforgiving person, I'd be telling you, you need to put on your identity map, I am a forgiving man, and keep that in front of you all the time, because you have to change the reality around that. You have to change your reality around that, because the truth is, in this moment, you hold on to everything. Not you. This is a figurative situation, right? You just hold on and never let anything go. And it's eating you up from the inside. So, but it's possible for you to be a forgiving person, but you have to see it. Just like you said, you have to see it. And so, yeah, my encouragement to you, if you weren't a forgiving person, is you change your belief around it for you. No, I am a forgiving person. I forgive quickly. I forgive quickly. People don't understand. No, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that. It is not commonly thought in my perception. It is not commonly thought about what forgiveness actually is. Forgiveness is me taking the weight that I carry because of your action and saying, I'm not going to carry this anymore. Instead, I'm going to set up some boundaries so that I don't have to carry this thing anymore. So that the next time you blank, the reaction is just, this is what it's set out to be. No, I'm going to go for a walk. No, I'm going to leave. No, I'm going to end this marriage. No, whatever, it doesn't matter. The boundary is set up. I know what's going to happen. I don't have to carry this big weight anymore of anger because I expect you to fix the problem. No, forgiveness is about me. You hurt me, and I grabbed that hurt in all its massive amount of weight, and I decided to put it on my own back. And I'm carrying it around. Forgiveness is me saying, I'm not carrying this anymore. It does nothing. It's nothing to do with you. Me forgiving you has nothing to do with you at all. Nothing. But the way we are maybe led to believe, or just which would be a spiritually led to believe, I believe we have an enemy. But the belief, the subconscious belief is that if I forgive you, I'm taking weight off of you and letting you drop it. No. Because forgiveness has nothing to do with access. I forgive you. It doesn't mean you're allowed back in my life in the exact same place you were, but when you caused the hurt. That's not what forgiveness means.
Right.
That's not what forgiveness means. Forgiveness is literally just me saying, I don't want to carry around the burden of the hurt, the burden of the damage, the burden of the pain. Nope, I don't want to carry that anymore. Now you're not allowed back in the house. Right? That's how I make sure that I don't pick it up again. That's a separate issue. Did that come out right? Did that make sense?
Yeah, that made sense.
Okay. Right? I don't know why we're afraid to forgive. No, I do. I'm saying we're often afraid to forgive because I think I'm going to take the weight off of the person who hurt me.
I think also another reason why people don't forgive is because they feel like if they forgive that person is off the hook.
Yeah.
When when they don't realize is that the Bible is very clear: if you do not forgive, you're not forgiven.
Right.
It is this crazy dichotomy or like thing about forgiveness where like you have to forgive in order for you to be free.
Right.
And God says vengeance is his. It's not up to you to make sure that person is punished.
Right.
Because of what they did to you or the hurt that you received from an action that they did, whether it was intentional or non-intentional. Right? It doesn't make it any less real. It doesn't make it any less painful.
Right.
But you must forgive and release that person for yourself. For whatever reason, God decided that was going to be a law.
Right.
And that law cannot be circumnavigated.
No.
Powerful people choose to forgive because they understand that it frees them from the bondage, not the other person. The other person has their own things that they have to deal with and go before God and have consequences of. But forgiveness is for you, not for them.
You want to read a really interesting book? Read a book called Levels of Energy.
Oh, interesting.
And it's basically about human frequency.
Mm-hmm.
The whole book is about human frequency. And when you understand that on a purely scientific level, if you go through this, you come to understand that unforgiveness is a low frequency, which prevents you from receiving gifts. It prevents you from seeing joy. It prevents you from it prevents good things from happening to you, to stay at a low frequency. On a psychology level, it's, well, I don't get to see that someone treated me right, treated me well, that somebody gave me a gift, because everything is dark right now, because I'm depressed right now. How often do you see a blessing when you're sitting in the depths of depression? You don't. Someone could bring you a meal, someone could put money in your bank account, whatever, and you are so low that it does not see, there's no joy there.
Mm.
There's no, that's a frequency. That is all about the human frequency, which, call it whatever you want. Call it frequency, call it forgiveness, call it spiritual, call it love. Love is a frequency. There's frequencies to the different emotions that we carry. And so purely scientifically, we should be forgiving others so that we can receive good things.
I agree. It's like when you don't forgive, you're blocking your own blessing.
Yeah.
You really are.
Yeah. I mean,
or happiness. Just even happiness.
Let's cause some discomfort right now.
Oh, we haven't already done that?
Right. If we haven't already. In your marriage, if you don't forgive your spouse, step outside of the emotions for a sec and understand that your spouse, with all their flaws and all the things they've ever done to hurt you, has some amazing gifts, some amazing positive qualities. And in almost every situation, you married them because they gave to you some incredible things that added to your life. If you get to a place where you cannot forgive them, all of that is gone. Not because it doesn't exist anymore, because you can't see it.
That's right. Can't see it.
You cannot accept it. You cannot, if you can't see it, you cannot accept it. And they are still often they are still giving those things. But it doesn't exist for you. And I now live in a hell of my own making because I am not in this place capable of seeing how much positive my spouse adds to my life. I'm not going to say you. How much positive my spouse adds to my life.
Hey, I add positive to
your
life.
You are. You are. I just.
And you add positive to my life.
I do. Right. I'm talking about specifically about spouses here. So,
right.
How much protection they add, how much added wealth gets brought because we're together, how much less work life is. You think that you do everything in your home? Get divorced and find out very quickly,
every time,
very quickly, that, oh my goodness, they did a lot.
Every time.
And I bet you there's exceptions, because there are cheesy eating video game players who don't do anything but, like, right. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but almost every marriage I've ever seen, if you left that marriage, you find out very quick how much they actually do, and they do a lot. But you can't see it if you're holding on to unforgiveness. And it doesn't mean we don't expect change from our partners. We do. It's the biggest forge. The most painful forge you can go through, in my opinion, is a marriage, because it shines a light on everything you should have already fixed.
Right. That's exactly right.
Right? That's what marriage does. God said, you know what? I'm going to give you this blessing. This blessing is going to hurt, but it is a bigger blessing than you could get anywhere else. And that's the truth. It's like, get married. The potential for this to be such a blessing is big, but I have to also accept the fact that it's going to show me where I done fucked up.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you should have fixed this a long time ago.
Yep. If there are chinks in the armor, they will be found.
Right?
Yeah, and it will be uncomfortable. But the person who's focused on loving others and loving self, like being a true representation of what is good and right, and right. They're going to be able to realize, I'm uncomfortable with this right now, but this is for my good. This is for my growth, and what needs to shift in me.
Right.
Now, on the flip side of that, we can't have the conversation about forgiveness and not have the conversation about boundaries.
Right.
Every kingdom has boundaries.
Yes.
And there comes a time and a place where, I mean, I think there should always be boundaries. Like there should be boundaries established from day one, but there comes a time and a place where you have to have boundaries, and forgiving someone does not mean that that person still has the same place in your life,
Right.
or that they somehow get some power over you again or something
Right.
like that. Boundaries are healthy, and healthy people love boundaries and respect boundaries.
Right.
Unhealthy people hate boundaries.
Right.
And when you establish boundaries, they will freak out.
Right.
They do not like having boundaries because it makes them accountable to, now they have the choice. I'm either going to self-reflect or I'm going to project. And a healthy person will self-reflect, and an unhealthy person will project and blame and
Right.
become a victim in that scenario. When, how dare you put that boundary here? You know, it's like, how dare you not let illegals into our country, you know, that could potentially be harmful for our
Right.
populace in one way or another. How dare you not do that, right?
Right.
How dare you have a boundary?
Right. But I will say there's also, and this is not me disagreeing or pushing back at all, but there is an issue with unhealthy people making boundaries.
Oh, right.
Because if a boundary is created purely for self,
Right.
it's actually a bad boundary.
Mm-hmm.
I need this to protect me. I don't care about you. Don't cross this boundary because it's all about me.
Right.
Well, that's not relationship building.
Right.
That is tearing.
Right.
We are causing harm
Mm-hmm.
when it's all about me. Now, if I'm creating a boundary because I care about you and I having a
Us.
better relationship, we
The
getting
kingdom.
stronger.
Our kingdom.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I can create boundaries all day and say, well, if you're a healthy person, you should respect my boundaries. But if they're selfish, you don't want to be in a relationship with me anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Who gives a rip about the boundaries? Because you just care about you.
Right.
Right. And so there's a real, and I don't have an answer to how you go about becoming that kind of person, but I need to be, I'll just speak for me. I need to be a person who cares about the relationship, not more than me. But when I create restrictions on you, it should be so we can be closer. Not so I can be safer, so we can be closer. Me being safer will come out of that. Does that? I could totally see how that could be abused, and I don't like it.
And misunderstood.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. But in the case of this is a relationship that should continue, because there are boundaries that need to be created over relationships that should not continue.
Right.
For us to be okay, you need to not be in my life anymore is a very real thing.
Mm-hmm.
That those relationships exist. Either I have zero self-control and could not be a good person because my triggers make me a toxic, evil human being when you're around me. Okay, well, we need total separation
Unhealthy
for me.
Yeah, and there should be in that situation.
Right? And also for you, because I'm not treating you well in that situation. You know, there's stuff like that does exist. But, you know, I feel, man, there's so many ways to misinterpret what everything I just said.
We could genuinely have an entire conversation, entire podcast just on boundaries.
Right.
Because the boundaries really they should be for the preservation of family, kingdom, you know, all that. And when it all becomes about you, like, no, these are my boundaries. You're crossing my boundaries.
Right.
Well, I'll be honest, sometimes your boundaries need to be crossed a little bit. Like we need to be able to have discussions.
Yes.
Without you feeling like you're attacked.
Right.
And so if someone is having a discussion with you and you feel attacked, first of all, you might be being attacked. Right. That is a real possibility. Yes. Okay, we've all experienced that. But sometimes, like, people are communicating with you because they do desire to have a deeper relationship. Right. And there are things that are happening that are making that difficult. Right. And I understand how me saying that could be taken way out of proportion. And people are like, don't go having conversations with your spouse now about how you're the victim and they're the one who's hindering the relationship. Like, stop it. Just focus on you.
Right.
Okay. Focus on ironing the things in your self that can improve the situation, that you're in. But yeah, boundaries, they go right along with it.
Right.
Boundaries can be in love, and they can also be in a place of control, which is not like when it's all about controlling the environment
There you
around
go.
you. You are the problem.
Right. There you go.
If you're not sure, if you have unforgiveness, if you're trying to control everything around you, there's probably fear and unforgiveness there.
Right.
There's just a good
It's a
chance.
good chance.
There's a good
I
chance.
agree. I agree.
It's just one of the things. So if that rises up and you're like, I'm really trying to control things right now, there's probably some fear
Right.
and there could be some unforgiveness. So, well, I think this was a great discussion today.
I think it'll start a few more. Is good.
Yeah. Is anything else that you think we should leave people with today as we discuss unforgiveness and forgiveness?
I think in general, this discussion, a discussion about forgiveness, and especially a discussion about boundaries, the first place the mind goes is to outside.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, this person does this, so I should have boundaries there, or that person is, and we try to go outside. And I hope that one of the main things we can bring about through our currently weekly discussions is that a person first looks inside.
Right.
Look at myself first.
Yeah.
Who am I as a human being, and where do I need to improve, or where am I good, and how can I gift that to the rest of the world?
Right.
Because we're talking about forgiveness. All of us have been hurt badly.
Mm-hmm.
All of us have the human right to hold unforgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
Purely the human right. I don't have to forgive. And by human measure, I shouldn't have to. They hurt me, or this thing happened. But that limits us, and spiritually, that's not okay, right? Like that's not who I want to be. That's not whom I serve. I don't try to walk this earth serving me,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I don't, whatever. I don't have an ego about it, but at the end of my life, I don't want people, well, why would I go to Brad's wake or Brad's memorial? I mean, Brad just lived for himself. I didn't pay him $10 when we were 15 that I owed him, and he never let me live it down.
Right.
Because he didn't know how to forgive. He was all about himself. I don't want to be that guy. And so in order to not be that guy, I have to look in here first. Nowhere else. Nowhere else. Where am I triggered? Where am I not forgiving? And if I can possibly figure it out, where did it come from? Oh, or maybe I need help to figure it out. There are some great therapists on this planet whose job it is to help you go look in rooms that you don't want to look in your own heart. That's their job.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know what happened when I was very young, but I have very, very little memory before 8 or 9 years old.
Oh, wow.
Like almost none. I can remember a couple things from school. I can remember my first day of kindergarten, but most of that time is gone, and I have no idea what happened in there. But you know what? I mean, I'm one of the first to tell you, you got a problem, go see a therapist. Like, go talk it out. So for a man to discover what it is that you don't want to look at, that's place for therapy, is for a man to discover what you don't want to look at. For a woman, it's to work through what you don't want to look at. That's those two. Therapy works very different for men and women, which is a totally different discussion we are not having today. But yeah, the thing I would leave everybody with is take what you heard today and self-examine only. Yeah. Don't so-and-so else doesn't forgive. Just self-examine. Where about me? I can change the entire world around me by changing me. I don't need everybody else to change so that the world's different.
That's right.
Just me. Just me.
I'm a nuclear power plant of change.
That's right.
And it is so easy to see the flaws in the people around us.
Right.
Like we got 20/20 vision when it comes to like seeing what's wrong with your partner
Right.
or the ones around you. But when it comes to yourself, like we are stupid.
Right.
Like we are very slow to see our own flaws.
Right.
But maturing and growing in self-love is being able to step back and mastering the art of examining yourself.
Right.
So I fully agree. Like, take this today and don't take what we said and be like, you're doing this, to somebody else, but take it as an opportunity that as triggers come up and as things come up, it's an opportunity for growth, for self-examination.
Right.
Where is this coming from? And it's an opportunity for you to level up, which is what we want for your life. It's why we do this. We live what we talk and say. We'll go, and I know this entire next week, every little thing that comes up, we'll be like, oh, I need to take a look at that so that I can grow, so I can become more like my father. Because I want people, my greatest desire of my life, and I truly mean this, is that someday my spouse and my children would think of me when I die, okay? And they would say, he loved really well.
Right.
He loved us really well. I loved my dad and he loved us really well. Because I know a whole lot of people that the parents or the dad goes to the grave and the kids have a lot of complaints and they have a lot of unresolved things. And there could be a lot of things that they could complain about that dad didn't do. I just want to get to the end of my life knowing that the most important people to me, the woman who I chose to do life with, and the children that came into this earth because of me, they look at me with love and admiration.
Right.
I loved who my dad was. He was a good man, those kind of things. That's my greatest desire. So that's what this is about. We appreciate you guys coming to another episode of Hold the Bridge, where we discuss humanity under attack and what we can do to hold the bridge for future generations.
Right.
So we appreciate you and we'll see you in the next episode.